In this video, I'm going to be showing you, yes, you, how to play the tanky, beefy boy Gunlancer. Specifically the blue Gunlancer or combat readiness variant of Gunlancer. I'm going to be talking more about the skill builds, the stat priorities, the engravings, as well as a rotation that you can use to just bash on enemies. Gunlancer excels at a highly aggressive yet oddly safe playstyle. You're pretty much always going to be in the face of the enemy and you're going to be smacking the crap out of them while you have a shield up. All the while providing shields for your teams, making sure they are protected and safe during the battle. Every like on this video saves your teammate from a lethal attack with a Gunlancer shield. So make sure you support your teammates by doing that. You don't want to be a bad teammate, right? Starting off with skill builds. So assuming you're in T2 to T3, your skill build should be somewhere between 250 and 270 skill points. If you have more than that, I'll talk about what you should do later in the video. The first ability I highly recommend doing if you're going to spend any time in Guardian raids is Dash Upper Fire. Dash Upper Fire is an insanely good ability because it's one of the best counters in the game. When you're in that Guardian raid and you see that beast turn blue, hit that Dash Upper Fire and stun that bad boy into oblivion. I would recommend selecting the Ready Attack tripod and only going one tripod deep into this ability. Next we have Shield Bash. This is a really great damaging ability and I've seen people run two different styles on this. Firstly, you could buff yourself with nimble movement, giving yourself 15% attack speed. I can see this being really helpful because if you know anything about Gunlancer, Gunlancer's biggest weakness is its movement speed because Gunlancer is a very beefy, chunky boy. He doesn't move very quickly. But if you're okay with the beefcake life, then you can choose Armor Destruction, which lowers your foe's defense by 12%. Either way, you want to be spamming Shield Bash as much as possible before your main damage combo so that you can get the most damage out as possible. More on the main damage combo later once we get through all the abilities though. The next ability that's really important for pre-buff or debuff before the main damage combo is your Bash ability. Same idea here, and you want to go Armor Destruction so that your big damage does even bigger damage. After that, you want to fully spec into Leap Attack. This is an amazing ability for Gunlancer because it's one of his few movement abilities that also does a brick ton of damage. For the tripods, you want to take Direct Hit to increase the damage, Electric Field so that you change the damage to electric damage, and then Low Shock, which will change this into a combo ability, therefore giving you more jumps, which is huge because then it actually becomes a very viable movement skill. We then want to take Guardian's Thunderbolt. This ability is insane because this is your highest damage that you do on Gunlancer. You literally just summon a 550-pound war tank and toss it on the raid boss. For the tripods, you want to go Damaging Luck, which increases the amount of thunderbolts thrown out. Tough Strike in order to increase the damage by 25%. You're basically throwing 1/4 of an extra tank on that guy. And then you want to select Lightning Stalk so that the damage goes in a plus-like motion as well as increasing the damage by 50%. Now let's move on to Shield Charge. Shield Charge is a really great ability because it gives you movement speed as well as a dank shield. On this ability as well, you want to go all three tripods with Enhanced Strike to increase your damage, Shield to actually give you that shield while you're doing your movement, and then choosing Destruction Charger, which shortens your dash movement but also gives you 2 additional attacks when you hit the target, as well as increasing your damage. Now we'll move on to a signature ability of the Gunlancer, Shout of Hatred. This is your taunt. Although this is a taunt, this also does a butt ton of damage as well. He must be saying some really hurtful shit because the amount of damage he does with those words is painful. Anyways, we want to triple tripod this one as well, with Quick Prep reducing the cooldown so we can spam this as much as possible, and then Shield so then we actually get a shield when we use this ability. And then lastly going with Open Weakness so that we increase the range of the shout as well as increase the damage that goes out on the enemy for that time. And then last but not least, the ability that I think makes Blue Gunlancer is Nalastria's Energy, which provides all your teammates with a shield as well as reducing the damage that they take for a certain amount of time. Of course, we want to triple tripod this one, starting with Quick Prep so then we can use this as much as possible. And then we want to select Effectiveness so that we take 35% less additional damage. And then we want to select Survive. This is the huge ability because this is actually what allows you to shield your teammates. So this is the most crucial tripod you want to pick. After all that, you want to take Guardian's Protection for your Awakening ability. This does a butt ton of damage, restores your shield, as well as in the circle that it places down, makes your teammates take 40% less damage. This is a huge ability. And the animation is just mwah, chef kiss, so cool. So that's the skill build I like to go on Blue Gunlancer. Now let's get into the stat priority as well as engravings. So for the stats on Gunlancer, it's extremely straightforward. What you want to do is just fully dump as much as you can into the specialty bucket. The reason for this is that your shield scales with the amount of specialty that you have, as well as the damage that your blue abilities do. So when you walk up with your full specialty build, the raid boss is literally just gonna shit their pants. So yeah, stat building, super simple for Gunlancer. So let's move on to engravings next. For engravings, the three things you really want to focus on is combat readiness, barricade, and grudge. The biggest priority is getting combat readiness to level 1. Once you've done that, you can either focus on maxing out barricade or grudge. I would say which one you max is entirely up to you. In most cases, I would say don't go grudge first because most classes are too squishy and they would die from that 20%. But Gunlancer is so tanky that it doesn't really matter in that situation, so you would be doing more damage. However, if you do want to go the more safe route, you can max out barricade first, as the damage on barricade is still really good. But yeah, pretty straightforward depending on your preference. I'd also say how much specialty plays a factor in that, because if you're more tanky, then grudge obviously becomes more viable. But before any of that, just make sure you have at least level 1 combat readiness. Otherwise, you're not even a Blue Gunlancer. Like, what are you doing, bro? Alright, so now that we have our build, stats, and engravings, let's move into our rotation. Gunlancer's rotation follows the whole vibe of the class and is fairly comfy to do. However, there's some helpful tips that I want to talk about before we get into the actual rotation that'll help you maximize your efforts on Gunlancer. First of all, I want to mention something I haven't talked about in this video so far, which is your Z button, which is your toggleable shield. When activated, you'll have a shield up, meaning you won't take damage, but you'll be moving incredibly slow, which is the trade-off. As you take more damage, your shield will deplete, and the only way to recharge your shield is by toggling it off. So the best times to toggle your shield off is when you're going to be using abilities that give you a shield. So for our build, it would be Shout of Hatred and Shield Charge. So these are the best times to recharge your shield. Additionally, your X ability is pretty insane because it's basically a giant leap into the center of the enemies with a giant shield around everybody. During that time, your team cannot take any damage, so it can create some really clutch situations. So the way the rotation works is you're essentially just going to buff first and then do your big damage. So you generally want to start off with Shield Bash and Bash. This way you've got the debuff on the enemy so they take more damage. Then I would suggest taunting with Shout of Hatred so that you get the mob's attention, as well as a shield going up with some big damage. From there, I would hit Guardian's Thunder into Shield Charge. You can use Leap Attack as well for a big amount of damage and repositioning. The abilities I'd personally hold out on for specific situations is your Dash Upper Fire and Nolostria's Energy. The reason for this is, like I said previously, Dash Upper Fire is going to be your insane counter ability. So you want to wait for the right moment to counter the boss so that they are stunned and they can't do any damage. Additionally, Nolostria's Energy is a shield for the whole entire team. However, it does have a long cooldown, so you want to make sure that the boss is going to be going through a big damage phase before you pop that ability, or if your teammate is running into damage like it's no tomorrow and you want to save them. If everything is on cooldown in a situation like that, you just want to auto attack. Gunlancer's auto attack is pretty dank, so I'd say do that until the next set of abilities and buffs come up. If you're in a crap situation and your shield is depleted, then I would suggest ulting because it does a lot of damage and it fully recharges your shield charge. So as you can see, Gunlancer does have kind of a repetitive rotation. However, the nice thing is that you have these situational abilities that you want to use in certain situations that make a huge difference in the game. Overall, I think it's pretty comfy, a really fun class, and I love how aggressive you can be with very little punishment. It's one of the classes that speaks to me the most, and I hope you guys enjoy Gunlancer just as much. If this video was helpful to you and you guys made it through this way, I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys subscribe, like the video, and watch out for my next videos. Peace.